Okay, here we go again. Part three. I got to move this mouse because every time I reach over here to get this coffee or reach over here to get some, I hit that mouse and stop this thing. So I'm moving the mouse. But if you if you watch those other two, uh, I read the verse 9, 1 John 3:9, and it says, "Whoever been born of God does not sin, for his seed remains in him, and he cannot sin because he has been born of God." Now I could take that verse and I could build a whole denominational belief from that one verse. If I didn't take the whole Bible and know what the whole Bible said about sin, if I didn't take John, if I didn't take Peter, if I didn't take the things that Paul wrote, then I could just say, well, maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. Maybe once I get saved, I can't sin anymore. That all my sins have been uh, put on the back burner, and they're never going to be brought up again. And my past sins will never be brought up by God. My past sins, they're as far as the east is from the west. They'll never ever. God will never bring up something that I did in my past to remind me. Look, this is what I brought you from, dude. That he would never do that. He's not that kind of God. But Satan will. Satan will bring up everything you've ever done to to just throw you. I say, look at what you did back then. But anyway, you know but you have to take the whole Bible. You have to take the whole Bible. You can't just take one verse out of the Bible and just say, okay, this is it. This is it. I mean, the Bible is a pretty big book, and the Bible is a pretty complex book, but the Bible is a very plain book. I don't read the King James that much because of the these and thous and this and that and the other, and people say I'm going to hell because of that. Well, I hope I don't, and I don't believe I will, because I got enough from the King James to know the deity of Christ, that he is the Son of God, that he came as a virgin. He came to birth. He came to earth through a virgin, his mama Mary. Okay, and I believe with all my heart that he died on the cross, and 3 days later he arose again, and that he is coming back. We don't know when, but I believe it's going to be soon by all the signs that the Bible is giving us for it. But I believe that if we take the Bible and go from beginning to end, from Genesis to Revelation, that we have to take that as a whole. We can't just take it. The Old Testament gives us a characteristic of who God is. And God really, 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 when he tells somebody to jump, he expects them to ask him how high. You can't just jump and clear the ground. I mean, you got to do exactly what God tells you to do. And we see it throughout the whole Bible. We see it throughout the Old Testament, especially when God tells people, look, y'all go in there and y'all destroy this nation. Y'all go in there and y'all completely annihilate them. Y'all take them all out. Men, women, children, the whole 9 yards. Kill their livestock. Don't y'all get no kind of plunder from there, because y'all don't want none of that nasty stuff on your hands. I'm going to bless you big time. So don't go in there and take a bunch of crap that don't belong to you. But the greed in some guy, and I didn't study this, so I'll study it later on and put it on here if somebody don't disagrees with me. But this guy, he didn't listen to God. He didn't pay no attention to what God said. So he sees all this stuff, this gold and this real robes, beautiful robes, and all this kind of stuff. And so he goes take it back to his tent and hides it, and he hides it from everybody in the community, but he don't hide it from God. You can't hide nothing from God. So God knew who did it. God knew who did it, and when he did it, watching him do it, and this and that and the other. But anyway, he calls them all together. He calls Moses. He calls Aaron. He calls and which again I didn't study the story, so I may have a few names wrong. Okay, but he calls them all together and brings them into the front of the tent. Brings his whole family. I mean, he brings his mom-in-law, he brings his daddy-in-law, he brings the whole 9 yards, everybody, his children, his servants. I mean, he brings everybody. So he probably got a big old household. I mean, big old slew of people there. His livestock and everything else. I believe he tells him to bring his livestock with him. And so the guy confesses, yeah, I did it. Greed got a hold, and he probably didn't say in these words, but greed got a hold of me, and I had to have that robe. I had to have that gold. I had to have that. So what did God do? Did he just pat him on the back and say, man, I know you was tempted. That's okay, buddy. No, he opened the ground up. And the ground swallowed Every one of those. Every one of those people. It's in the Bible. And, that's God's judgment. God is just in his judgment. What I'm saying, God is true to his word. And, that's why I have the fear of God in my heart, is because God is true to his word. If he says don't do it, then no, don't do it. If he says do it, then yes, we're supposed to do it. And, where I really fall short many, many times is when God says do it and I don't do it. And if I'm guilty, I'm guilty of more sins of not doing what God tells me to do than of doing what God tells me not to do. If that makes sense. I don't know if it does or if it don't. But God does forgive me for those things. But if it's something to go speak to this person or something like this, then God would use somebody else to do it. And I've missed out on that blessing. That other person got the blessing I was supposed to be getting. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say today, because there's 3 parts in this thing. And the mouse is a little bit away from me now to where I can't accidentally bump it. And hopefully when I start making one tomorrow, then I'm going to remember that mouse, and that mouse messed me up 3 times today. But anyway, I love y'all. God bless you. And I'm hoping and praying that a revival does take place, and that many, many millions of people come to know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And I know I'm probably going to catch some flack on this if anybody ever watches this. I'm praying for all those protesters and all that stuff up there, that they get to know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And I'm sure some's going to say, well, dude, that's judging, because them people knows Jesus. I mean, they're up there because they love Jesus and they want these, you tell a tree by the fruit it bears. Anyway, I'm going to drop right there. I'm going to leave it right there. But anyway, love you. God bless you. I hope everybody has a blessed day. It's raining a little bit out here in Temple, Georgia today, but we need the rain. I'm not going to say nothing about it, because the temperature is up way above freezing. So we've had some beautiful days the last few days. But anyway, God bless y'all. Have a blessed day. And if you don't know Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, I pray that you do make him Lord and Savior of your life. And God bless.